So hello everybody, welcome to our show, and today we will have a very interesting conversation with a very interesting and an ordinary personality. Alex Orlowski, expert of fighting online propaganda and cyber crimes.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello, hi, good evening.
This is our second time we're talking. That's why my first question will be, what completely changed since our first meeting more than a year and a half ago in the fields that you are exploring, actually?
Yeah, unfortunately, what's happening is that the situation is getting worse and worse of propaganda, especially in Italy and Germany and Middle Europe. And the thing is that when we talked the last time, we was warning about this very powerful Russian propaganda going on the internet, on the social media. And apparently the European Commission or all the other institutions, they didn't do so much actually to stop that. And in fact, we saw like a raise of the quality of the propaganda, especially from the Russian, for example, in Italy, where they've been able even to have like a propagandist talking basically every day on or Italian state television or like on the private channel. Of course, the other private channel, they're owned by Berlusconi. That Berlusconi is not between us anymore. But anyway, at that time, we know that Berlusconi was a great friend, always been a great friend of Putin. And it's basically the politician that brought Putin to be so famous in Italy as a strong, powerful president of the Russian Federation. A lot of time in the last 20 years in Italy, we heard Italian politicians like Matteo Salvini or Berlusconi saying that Putin was even better than our own president. And of course, we did like a lot of business deal. For example, like with Gazprom. Gazprom was given like the 30 or 40% of all the entire gas production, gas needed to Italy, to us. Then basically was like one of the biggest partners for the gas. Thanks to Mario Draghi, that has been like a prime minister during the COVID pandemic, has been able basically to cut nearly to zero the need of Russian gas. Then what's happening is that right now we have like a polarization, that what Russia want in the Italian society, and especially on the internet, where actually 65% of Italians are pro-Ukrainian, and they are pro-sending weapons to help Ukraine. That we have always to remember something as a European citizen: we don't help Ukraine. We are helping Europe. Okay, Europe, Ukraine is under attack, and Europe is under attack. Then the war front is in Ukraine. Then I have the duty, we have the obligation to help Ukraine. But you know that this kind of war, you can win it as well through the propaganda, because being Europe so bureaucratic, so complicated, you need every country to agree to send weapons or to help with financial money Ukraine. And of course, we know what Hungary is saying, what other countries are saying. They try to stop the help from the European Union. And Italy is, of course, one of the most important countries because it's a founder of the European Union, but it's very important because it's always been very close to the Putinism, basically.
You overviewed right now how this propaganda started through the all years of Berlusconi being on top on the politician level in this country. But how come during almost 2 years of war in Ukraine, you say that European institutions, from your words that I understand, they failed to counter active with this propaganda and all this disinformation and cyber attacks and all this stuff, because a lot of institutions were created inside of European Union. So how come, even if we take into account 12 packages of sanctions on Russia and all this stuff, all the thousands of journalists that's presenting here in Ukraine and now explaining what's going on
But it's very simple, because that kind of institution in Europe, they always had, I went to Brussels to talk a lot of times, and they always had, and they have, a sort of like a monitoring approach. Let's monitor what Russia is doing in propaganda, and instead we need to counterfight. And they said that counterfighting is not something that belongs to European Commission.
But you have European Commission that produce the laws that should follow all the countries of
Yeah, but we don't
Union.
have a common army, we don't have a common intelligence. This is something of counter-propaganda, counter-intelligence. I think it should be led by the Ukrainian intelligence, but led in a very good way and coordinated with Europe. But that is not happening, because even in Ukraine we have a big fragmentation of intelligence. That's happened, for example, it's famous in Belgium or in Spain. They have a big fragmentation of intelligence. They don't talk between them. They're not able to organize something effective against the Russian propaganda. On top, we have the social networks. They are already complicated enough that you need to have just one contact point to Meta, for example, or to Google or to TikTok. The TikTok, okay, it's a bit Chinese and it's a bit more difficult. But anyway, to ask them to cancel a fake propaganda account, that is not easy. That is a very complicated thing. We should really need like a special digital army in Brussels doing that. But so far, the European Union spent a lot of money in little institutions that are monitoring, they're doing a fact-checking, but we know that the fact-checking is not effective. Nobody from Russia is going to the European Union webpage of Statcom to read that news was fake. I mean, you need to counter the fake news on the same field, that is on VKontakte, for example, is on Twitter.